Hey, Grubgun here. I'm back. I was thinking the other day about how my coping mechanisms to get myself through the fucking day, they're probably not that great. Like, a lot of people are very much able to deal with shit. And, basically my whole life has been one bad fucking coping mechanism after another. It's like, it's just I don't know. I was just thinking like, how the fuck do I get through the day without just losing it? Because I have my moments where shit's not going well, but I just kind of motor through to the other side. So I mean, like, really, like, all of my fucking life, I've had to like fucking cope with fucking basically shitty situations. My parents are fucking had no idea how to raise a kid. Even though I'm the fucking second one, my sister's 10 years older than me. They didn't know anything about raising her. They had no idea about how to raise me. It was the 70s, right? So, you know, they were basically just drunk. But, so I basically was like, had to raise myself. So there was a whole lot of like having to deal with bad shit. And then, like, oh, I remember, like, as far back as, well, as early as grade three, I had a, I had an issue, personal issue, um, that there was no, back then in the 70s or whatever, 80s maybe, I guess it was, maybe the 70s, I don't remember. There was no real way to deal with it. It was impossible. Like, things like that didn't happen in the 70s. And there was no way that it could get fucking fixed in the 70s. So, what I had to do was just fucking man up and fucking start my shitty coping mechanisms, which lasted me basically my whole fucking life and never got me anywhere. So that was, it was extreme compensation I had to do. Like, I had to, I had to like try and be something that I fucking didn't feel like I was. So I couldn't really do school. Like, elementary school was a fucking shit show. Like, I couldn't pay attention. I was fucking acting out all the time. Fucking, I didn't get bad grades or anything, but like, I just couldn't concentrate and I was always fucking up and just getting into fucking trouble and, inattentive, basically. And, I almost had to go to fucking summer school a couple times, so I had to, like, go and, like, hammer out, like, fucking 2 weeks worth of work, or they'd made me go to summer school, so that would have been bullshit. Um, Even in elementary school, I had a fucking horrible body image. I thought that I was fat, so that wasn't helping at all. Even if I wasn't, I thought I was. So that wasn't helping at all. So everything was just compensation. As a kid, you don't know how to fucking cope with shit, right? So you're just like, well, I'm gonna break something, or I'm gonna fucking get in a fight, or I'm gonna be like, you can't be cool in elementary school. There's no way of doing it. So you just do whatever you need to do, right? Which is bad because nowadays they'd probably fucking try and fix you. Back then, nobody gave a shit. You know what I mean? They were just like, oh, he's a bad kid, he's a bad seed. So I just felt like garbage. So anyway, I get through elementary school. Surprisingly enough, they probably just fucking pushed me through just to get me out of there, because that's what the fucking school system's like. They just push everyone through and hope the next year they settle down. So go to high school. I could not fucking deal with high school. The amount of people in there that were fucking just the worst type of people possible, the people I hated the most. And so basically, I got through maybe half of grade 8. And then, I watched all my friends change, turn into the people I hate the most. And then, so I was like, I'm out. I just left. I quit high school, grade 8. So, there's me. Bad body image, not going to high school, fucking secluded in my fucking house with basically no friends anymore. So I was just like, oh, this sucks. So I just kind of like go into my own fucking shit, right? Don't do anything, don't get a fucking job or anything, because like, what the fuck? I don't have any fucking coping mechanism. I don't have any skills to get a job. No one taught me how to do that. So I sat around doing nothing. And like, fucking still horrible body image, right? So I was sulking just like a little punk ass bitch. And so I saw a picture of myself mowing the lawn. And I was just this dumb, fat fucking teenager mowing the lawn. And I'm like, is that what I look like? So I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to start losing weight. So I basically stopped eating and started exercising. And within fucking months, I lost like tons of weight. I ended up fucking 125 pounds at like age 16. Now, that's medically anorexic. I had to go, my parents took me to a fucking nutritionist at the fucking hospital because they were like, you're dying. And I'm like, well, I explained to the nutritionist that like, this is what's happening. I'm fucking on a diet because I thought I was fat. And they're like, well, you're medically anorexic. You're like 25 pounds under fucking your ideal body weight, but you're not unhealthy. So anyway, they let me go. Of course, just pass the buck, get the fuck out of here. So I was like, for the first time in my life, I felt like I had control over something, because I was like, okay, fine, I'm doing this. I'm the master of my destiny now. I've done something and I've achieved something. Now, granted, all of this is just fucking compensating for fucking having no control. So at that point, then, like, oh, look, you're young and you're fucking thin and you're athletic and shit. So people started fucking, I started getting attention. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm like so great, I can basically do whatever I want. And, experience was proving that I could do whatever I want. Like I acted out. I fucking drank to excess. That didn't stop for a long time. Did drugs to excess because, hey, nobody was going to tell me that I couldn't do that. And fucked a whole bunch of chicks because that's what a guy does, right? That's what a cool fucking guy does. Fucking gets drunk and on drugs and fucking bangs a bunch of chicks, right? So, needless to say, it didn't make me happy. I was like continuously searching for the next fucking either, joint, fucking beer, or fucking banging session, right? So, and it didn't matter like who I was banging. It was like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, just as long as there was a success story at the end of it, I was fucking fine with that. It didn't make me feel better. Like I said, this was a search for fucking whatever. I had no idea. So I did that for years. I went through fucking relationships, fucking and in my relationships that I had back then, I fucked around on my girlfriends because it was like, hey, look what I can do, right? Like, I'm the best. Nothing can stop me. I'm literally, life is a consequence-free fucking situation where you can just do whatever the fuck you want. You don't, even if you get caught, who gives a shit? Ha ha, lol, just fucking laugh it off. Have another drink, fucking smoke another joint, whatever. So needless to say, I didn't understand consequence to action, period. Then all of a sudden, years and years of fucking being drunk and on drugs kind of starts catching up to you, especially when you don't exercise anymore. I started gaining weight again. So, made me feel worse than ever because my powers that I had from being thin and athletic and fucking charismatic, they disappeared. So I was just a fat, dumb, fucking drunk, fucking guy on drugs again. So, that was the worst. So, hey, how do I compensate? I fucking drink more, do more drugs. No motivation. I used to fucking, like, my anger fucking skills were shitty, so I used to, like, break shit and, like, lash out and fucking go and just completely fucking haywire trying to, like, get a hold of shit. Didn't work. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I had no coping mechanism, so how do you react? You just fucking explode, right? I ended up fucking. The relationship I was in was like off and on continuously because it was so volatile, and I had to go to anger management. And the guy in anger management was basically like, it's probably better if you just say what you fucking think, because if you keep it bottled up, you're just gonna kill people, right? So anyway, so that's what I was doing. I was like literally just you just end up saying whatever you think. And I mean, it's for the best. It still didn't work. There were still fucking yelling matches and fucking screaming and throwing shit around and breaking stuff, but like I was always trying to diffuse the situation because I didn't want to yell anymore. I had nothing to yell about because I started to shut down emotionally. Just remove myself from fucking any emotional reaction whatsoever. Like, literally, like, fucking started becoming like a fucking cold nut. Just like people would have, people would be mad, and I'd just be like, just ended up with the worst, like, it's the worst coping mechanism because you just don't. You're just like, whatever. It's not my problem. So that's not that great, but it helped because, and it didn't, it certainly didn't, never diffused an argument because somebody would be having an emotional reaction and I'd be like, why don't you calm down? And that, I mean, have you ever told a girl who was freaking out that she should calm down? Yeah, that doesn't work. So, why don't you just calm down? Maybe we can just not yell and shit. Really, really doesn't work. So, I just became really selfish and completely wrapped up in my own shit. And I mean, like, I tried to fucking be creative. I tried to write. I made fucking YouTube videos. I tried to fucking, do artwork and shit. I never felt like I was any good at that stuff. I mean, I got to a certain level and I was just like, meh. Played the guitar and shit. It was just like, okay, yeah, I got to a certain level and I'm like, good enough, whatever. I can fake it. So, yeah. So I just became cold as fuck. I didn't really care anymore about anything. Why should I? I was working. I made enough money to fucking live. Barely. I had a life, but it wasn't really a life, but I was resigned to that, right? So, this, of course, doesn't really work well because when you emotionally remove yourself from a relationship, the other person feels as if there's no relationship anymore. So when that fucking relationship broke, I was like, okay, well, I've failed. I've completely failed. Like, what I've done everything wrong up to this point. And how do you fix that? You're just left in your own head. And then I'm like, okay, well, you know what? The only thing that you can do when you have no control is to once again take control. So, I'm sitting in my house, fucking thinking about how I'm gonna fucking basically be in the fucking hamster wheel the rest of my life. And I'm like, well, why don't I try and fucking not be in the hamster wheel the rest of my life? So, selling all my video games, moving to fucking into a van, right? Saving money to leave town. Because this town, I'm blaming the town for my fucking downfall. Monetarily, anyway. And emotionally, I have to find a scapegoat somewhere. The town is the fucking scapegoat. So, I make that fucking choice. Boom. In control of my life. Still a fat fucking piece of shit. But I don't drink anymore. Quit smoking dope. Fucking all of that shit's gone. So all my coping mechanisms now have to come from somewhere else. So, it's money. Saving money. That's the drug that I fucking decided to start using to excess. So I started saving money. And I mean, like, the thing is the one part about stress that fucking goes away with having money is the fear of not having any money and having to think about bills and shit. Once that's gone, all you have to really think about is, like, your well-being. How happy can you be under the circumstances because your money's taken care of? And I mean, like, I've had to make extreme compromises, take a look around. Extreme compromises to fucking get to the point where I'm fucking comfortable with the money situation. But now that you have money, so what do? It's retail therapy, right? I buy shit because I can. I can spend $50 and be like, I don't care. What's that? It's half a fucking shift. I don't give a shit. When you're saving, when you're saving like $1,300 a month, you don't give a shit about $50, right? It doesn't make any fucking difference. So now it's retail therapy. And I mean, like, it works, but I mean, it's still not the best. And so, like, as the stress has been relieved monetarily, I've become more, like, I've come to terms with the shit that happened to me in fucking grade 3, when I couldn't be anything that I wanted to be, so I had to compensate. So I've come to terms with that. I've made fucking life choices, and, I've fucking admitted things to myself that, 10 years ago you could never say. Now it's fine. But I'm happier now. And, I allow myself to have emotional reactions to shit. It's not always the best. I'll get fucking sad. A lot of the times I still use my manning up as a fucking way of getting through shit. But because it's what I'm used to, right? It's what I'm used to. You just fall back to your old habits. And I mean, it's not the best, but it is a way of getting through it because I have other mechanisms. I can talk to people about how I feel, and because my genuine friends give a shit, they'll actually fucking give me proper advice. It's nice to have people around that fucking actually give a shit, instead of people who are like, only give a shit about fucking where the next drink is coming from. But, like, do I overcompensate still? Maybe. Am I still kind of a cold nut on the inside? Kind of. But, I freed myself up a bit over the years, and I'm happier now than I've been for fucking as long as I can remember. And I mean, I'm making choices and, like, doing things so that I'm happy in the future. Before, I didn't even believe there was a future. Now I know that there is. And I mean, still let my anger out when it fucking happens, so it doesn't build up. That's why people at work are like, "Why are you always mad?" And I'm like, "I'm not always mad. I'm mad right now. Come back in 10 minutes and I'll be fine." But I still fall into the fucking depression hole every now and again. Who doesn't, right? But I just kind of go through it and get to the other side and kind of deal with shit. And usually it goes away. But I mean, there's stress about moving. There's fucking stress about fucking work. There's the concept of things, time never passing or passing too fast or not having enough money and that kind of shit. But, you know, at least now I understand what the problems are, so I'm able to deal with them. And I mean, like I said, granted, my coping mechanisms aren't really the best. To be, man up is not really something that it's more or less frowned upon nowadays. But sometimes you got to go with what you know, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know why I made this video. Oh yeah, I do, because you gotta have content on the fucking platform, or else people forget who you are. But yeah, so there you go. Grubgun's coping mechanisms. They're shitty. And if everyone's got their own way of handling shit, but I'll tell you what the worst thing is to do is not handling shit, because things spiral out of control and you spend 35 years being drunk and on drugs and fucking in dead end fucking relationships that end up leaving you an emotional shell. So hey, this has been Grubgun. I don't know if this helped anybody. Certainly didn't help me. But anyway, I'm signing out. Look at that ring light. Holy fuck. Incredible.